I went down there and I quickly got into my car and drove down to your house to get you. Here's the thing.
So thank you all for maintaining attendance as we kind of walk through all of this rain tonight. My name's Jeremy Schropp. I am a composer and producer at Harmonic Laboratory, and thank you to those that have stuck with us thus far, and for anyone that's just joining us. I did want to mention that there's a lot of amazing programming going on in downtown Eugene this winter as well, and that's all part of the Artistic Encounters program, which is sponsored by the City of Eugene Cultural Services. If you look at the delightful illuminated umbrellas across the street, that is part of one of the projects. It's called the Umbrella Project, which is basically sponsored and organized by Art City Eugene here in downtown. There's a number of other really amazing projects happening right now as well. We have a sidewalk art that only appears when it rains, so people are actually like spray painting stencils, but it's only activated when it's wet outside. There's also a rain machine that only makes music when it rains, and then there's roaming costumed artists who offer comical and unexpected interactions, and that's presented by Tropical Contemporary, another emerging and really innovative arts group here in town. I am going to pass this off to John Park, and we will speak about our portion of Artistic Encounters, which is the Winter Lights, or Winter Light Projection Project. And I will hand that over to John right now.
All right, thank you. I'm really excited to talk about Winter Light tonight because it's a really simple, easy to digest idea, but I think it's really effective. The idea here, Cultural Services and Harmonic Laboratory got together to identify vacant storefronts around downtown Eugene and think about how these spaces have so much potential and all the foot traffic and cars going by, to use and illuminate those spaces by pairing video artists with these temporary screens. So what you might be seeing to my right or your left here is an example, one of 3 installations we have going on so far in downtown Eugene. Here, the former Scan Design building, we have a work by John Watson's collective, reel of screen dance work, and we'll talk with John Watson in a moment here. We also have an installation that's down at the McDonald Theater. We've recently worked with them to pull all of the paper down off of that old juice bar that's at 10th and Willamette, and now that's activated with 2 different video artists' work, which is excited to see that come to life. And the third one is the former Sykes building. This is what used to be the Symantec call center as well, down at Charlton and Broadway. And I've got a 3-screen video piece that's going on in that space. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to John Watson and to talk a bit about screen dance. For many of you who have not heard of screen dance before, we're viewing a reel here, and I'd like to start with this question, which is, what is the difference between screen dance and just a video of a dance performance?
Oh, wow, thank you for answering that, because that's the key to understanding it. You've seen the films of the ballet, maybe over here at the Metro, you know, they get out and do some really good stuff, and it's really beautiful. Screen dance is not that. Screen dance is completely the opposite. It is taken out from under the proscenium arch of a stage of a theater, and you go out into the world. And it's a collaboration, not between just a choreographer and dancers, but between a choreographer and a filmmaker and dancers. Both have equal input. The photographer or videographer or filmmaker uses his skills in composition and lighting, close-ups, wide shots, telephotos, the whole thing, the whole gamut of photography, and applies it to choreographed dance to make a creation that you're never going to see on a stage anywhere. And if you look at some of these that are over here, you'll know you're never going to see them on a stage anywhere. So that is what screen dance is. Has anybody seen the Northwest Screen Dance Project? Yes, Brad's got pieces in there, and Brad's over here. It's got something on the screen, I think. Okay. Yeah, so we have one. Try to have one every year. We've had 3 so far. We're going to be at the Broadway Metro in this building once it's rebuilt this summer, June 11th and 12th. So come on out and take a look at it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Because we're trying to split up this stop with the other location down at the McDonald Theater, we will also wander down that way. Before we all depart towards McDonald, which is at 10th and Willamette, by the way, just wanted to remind everyone that our sponsor for the Art Walk this month is Euphoria Chocolate. So if any of you are looking for something sweet for someone in your life, it's a great place to get that. And our media sponsor is KLCC, so special thanks to KLCC. And so now we'll all just kind of slowly meander that way. It's only 3 blocks, not far. Thank you.
See, that's perfect timing. There you go. This is amazing. They take this interpretive dance.
This video right here.
So is this is this running now like all day?
Yes. Videography. I do need to send an update.
Howdy. Well, it's 2 o'clock, so I'd like to welcome you to the atrium and thank you for coming today. We have Joshua Caraca, who's going to play an instrument from Western Africa, a kora, something I have never experienced before, so I'm really looking forward to this. Joshua has asked that I put some chairs around because I guess his instrument's a little bit soft. I'm not sure. I think the acoustics in here are pretty good, but feel free to move around if you'd like to come in closer during the event if you're not feeling like you're hearing it well enough. But anyway, let's welcome Joshua to the atrium.
Yeah, feel free to sit around close. It's a pretty quiet instrument. Yeah, but it's a pretty quiet instrument. People don't believe me. Anyway, so, okay. And in any event, it's often something that'll be played to like your family in your living room. So, by your personal Jawi. Jawi is a West African storyteller and oral historian. I'm not a Jawi, of course, but my teachers are. So, yeah, let's back up and just do the entire intro since we're here. This is a kora. Kora is a 21-stringed West African harp, lute, bridge harp. It's got 2 sides of strings and a bridge and a skin stretched over, a cow skin stretched over a giant gourd. So a big old pumpkin. No, not actually, but effectively calabash and grill in those warm tropical areas. And then it's strung with fishing line, and traditionally maybe they were strung with guts or skins or something like that, but they've been using nylon fishing line for quite a while. Sometimes if they can't get a heavy enough one for the low ones, they'll braid it or weave it. Yeah, and kora is traditionally played in West Africa in an ethnic group called the Manding or Mandinka. There's a few different variations on that. And they're originally musicians in West Africa. In actually many of the ethnic groups there were a caste. They're a caste system. And it's not as serious anymore, of course, like I'm allowed to play kora, and I didn't grow up in the system, but at the same time, so much of the music is passed down through generations, and like some of the most famous core players today say they were like the 70th generation. Yeah, so, yeah, so a lot of the time the people who play are still mostly of that cast, and there's like, you know, only like 5 or 6 names of most, last names for most core players. There are Javate and Sissoko and Suso and Kuyate and Conte, and these are, yeah, my teacher's names were Baba Kuyate and Karamo Suso and Yakuba Sissoko and Solo Sissoko. Yeah, so I first started playing when I studied abroad in college in Senegal in 2008. So I've been playing for about 10 years. And then the first time I played, I was living with a host family, and the first month I was there was Ramadan, and the day after is this big holiday, and they had traditional musicians, Jali, come to their house and sing to the family, and they heard I was interested in the instrument, and one of them, my host family asked if one of them would give me lessons, and the guy who's playing kora is like, well, I won't, my big brother will, and that was Baba Kuyate, and then I got back and I didn't really totally know what I was doing, and eventually I was in the Bay Area where I grew up, and I met a guy who lived in Oakland who had just moved from the Gambia. He grew up mostly in Mali. His mom was from Mali, his dad was from the Gambia, and he grew up playing, and he was only a few years older than me, but he'd been playing since, well, I asked him how long he was been playing. He's like, I don't remember. I mean, like, the kid had been playing since he was 2 years old. There's like some video you can find if you look really hard of him winning a contest at like 14. So that was cool. And that's what a kora sounds like. So that's why I kind of got you closer. It was like the first time I heard kora music was in our living room. Like, they were just all around, and there were 3 guys singing and 1 guy playing kora, and one of the guys was tapping on the kora. I've never done this show standing up, so if I'm a little like, oh, I haven't tried this one before, so we're doing new things. And I'm gonna play you some music now.
You need to sit down, it's okay.
No, I mean, it's good. The acoustics are nice. I can interact with you. You know, I play a lot of shows like sitting in corners in like bars and stuff, and this is nice. This is different. So it's thanks for coming out. It's a good thing. Any requests? Whitebird. They say that. All right, we'll save that one. It's funny because if any of you were like West African, you would be like, yeah, Kulanjan. And I'd be like, all right, cool.
quarter tones and odd rhythms of so much other African music?
That is sort I can answer your question. I actually don't think of much African music having particularly odd rhythms, although a lot of it is really syncopated or like has a lot of like polyrhythms, so it seems a lot, which Kora actually does this as well, so it seems a lot more complicated than it is. But yeah, a lot of it's, they're simple time signatures like 4/4 and 2/4 and 3/4 and 6/8, like there's no 7 or like 16 or weird things that you find in like, or not weird, but complicated things that you find in like Indian music, for example. They're famous for it. Yeah, and the chorus tuned diatonically, so it's just a major scale. So it's pretty hard to play out of tune. I have 21 strings, so what I have is 2 full octaves, and then I have some extra bass notes, and some extra high notes, and just 2 scales. And yeah, a lot of people, I mean, they've tried to make comparisons, and there's some argument for this, of course, but depending on that, a lot of like the basis of like the blues is in West African music, and certainly some of the more pentatonic instruments for sure too. People have said Kora maybe, but in the same way, Kora has kind of a simple like rhythmic pattern that is maybe like 2 to 4 bars long or something, and that's basically all the song is, and the rest is improvisation on top of that, and that's called the kumbengo, which is just is what a Kora rhythm is. It's called the kumbengo.
Do 2 or 3 people get together and play Kora at the same time?
Absolutely. The most fun instrument for a Kora to play with is another Kora. Some of the coolest Kora albums have been duets that have like been released. I got to play once in a group called Symphony of Koras, where we had 8 Kora players on stage at once. This is back with 2 people, two African Jali, who I got to take lessons from, and then a bunch of us Americans, and then one woman who's Vietnamese American. And yeah, so that can happen. 8's a lot, but 2 or 3 is like very common. Yeah, so.
Are there different size Koras?
Yeah. As many different sized gourds as you can come up with. There's probably, you build the Kora around the gourd that someone found, basically. This is particularly large. The only time I've ever played with a bigger one than this is actually a guy at Country Fair who is, I think he's German actually, but he's in America. His wife's American, he's been here for a while. He builds them, and I was helping him sell them. And he had one that was even bigger than this, which is pretty nuts. But my first one's a little smaller. The ones my teacher plays on a little bit smaller, but around this size. But yeah, I mean, they're all handmade, you know. And they're all gourds, so that's really your determining factor is the size of gourd that was grown and found. And of course, if like my teacher when he was playing when he was 2, was probably playing on a pretty small one. So yeah. You tune it by, so these are just leather and the fishing line is wrapped around it, and you just tune it by moving them up and down, it creates tension. It's really pretty simple, actually. That doesn't make it easy. So there's things that are like, you know, a lot of time we confuse simple and easy. So tuning a Kora is one of the hardest instruments ever to tune. It's also kind of one of the simplest instruments ever to tune. It's just that it's a harp, so each string is plucked. So if you want to tune a string, you have to tune the string. You can't. If you want to tune a note, you have to tune a string. Unlike a guitar where you tune 6 things to tune your whole, you know, everything. But what you really try and do is keep it in tune as much as possible. And that's how Kora works. Yeah.
A song about harvest.
I don't have a song specifically about harvest and planting. That's a good question. You're getting the idea now, though. Someone probably does.
It's just a common theme.
Yeah, no, there probably is one. I play about around 20 some traditional songs, which is fairly good repertoire, but my teachers probably play hundreds. And like 3 Motown songs and like 3 original songs in my repertoire. But what can I play sort of like that? There's a song called Julid Jekri Bio, which isn't really harvest time, but the chorus means like we praise their prey this year, which is like a... This would be the Convengo. When I started with, there are all these little calls sometimes that you learn to that get added on. And then the rest will be whatever I feel like.
is like each of them tuned in thirds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. That's almost. It's almost exactly how it's turned. There's a few extra bass notes and a few extra high notes. So when you play chord, you effectively play, back to like musical structure, you're effectively playing like, you play with these 4 fingers, and you're effectively playing 4 very simple things at the same time. So back to something that is simple and hard at the same time. It's kind of, I guess, when I would explain chord, that's probably the best way to. It's a very good way to understand how something can be both simple and very difficult at the same time. So you basically play like a bass line, a melody, and improvise at the same time. But your bass line and melody are not that complicated, and your improv is as complicated as how good you are, or how many licks you've just kind of memorized or stolen, which is totally fine because it's folk music. It's passed down, taken from each other. Yeah, so Creative Commons license.
Would you play us one of the Motown tunes you arranged?
Yeah, sure. I got.
We won't tell your teachers.
No, they might enjoy it. There's only one I play in this tuning. Well, actually, there's a couple I play in this tuning, but we'll play this one. This is, like the catchiest song ever written, and I get to play it standing up, so we'll see how that works. I'm gonna do one other song first that so I can warm my voice a little bit, just since there's some singing. But then I'll play that for you. This is called Miniamba, and it's about the snake that was like the guardian of the Manding Empire, and they kind of say that the fall of the empire and the death of the snake corresponded to each other. And yeah, I want to warm up the voice because that's a different instrument that I haven't really been playing today, if you've noticed. So this will be good. All right, so for the next one, we can, I'll let y'all see my pretty eyes. Right? It's part of it. I'm your center of attention right now, so thought I'd be conscious of that. This is a thing. How are we gonna do this? I thought I had this worked out. I think I need to tighten this strap at some point. I think I had that tighter yesterday. All right, so yeah. Catchiest, one of the catchiest songs ever written.
Sunshine on a cloudy day, when it's cold outside, I've got the monthly. Well, I guess you say what can make me feel this way, my girl. Talking about my girl. Got so much honey, those bees envy me. Got the sweetest song, the bluebirds in the trees. Say what can make me feel this way, my girl. I'm talking about my girl. Don't need no money, fortune or fame. Got all the riches one man can claim. Well, I guess you see what can make me feel this way, my girl. I'm talking about my girl.
that fun?
Yes.
I
Can you
like
show us
to-
what it looks like when you sit down with this?
Yeah, it looks fine. It's a little less exciting, although it's probably more exciting if I'm not fumbling. And I play seated more. I thought this would be fun. But I thought I might convince y'all to get up and dance too if I was standing. Apparently not the right crowd for that.
When's your next Cider Works show?
Huh?
When's your next show?
Oh yeah, that's true. So I'm playing at Saturday Market Holiday Market on November 24th, but I'm also playing at Wildcraft Cider Works on December 2nd, and I often play there on the first Sunday of the month, and just in the tasting room, it's free. So, a few different ways I can play. Yeah, maybe you'll come to one of those and do dancing.
So in Africa, do they sit on the floor and play this?
You know, they sit in as many different places as we sit.
I'm just thinking in a home how that looks.
Sometimes people sit on the floor. Sometimes they sit in a chair. Sometimes they, if they're playing a show, they sometimes get creative with a strap like this and do a better job than I was doing. It's not. Yeah. Sometimes they sit on the floor. Sometimes they don't.
Do chorus have different shapes depending on the gourd?
Not really. I mean, like, they vary a small amount, but there's not like a wide variation. There are some other instruments that are similar looking that are built with gourds that are similar but different. There's a kamalangoni, which is an instrument that's pentatonic that looks almost exactly like a chord, but has like they basically half as many strings around there. And there's Jaliangoni is a little like lutes, guitar type instruments, a lot smaller. It's like boat shaped. I think it's usually carved wood. I don't think there's gourds that size, but maybe they could be. So a little bit of like ethnomusicology or white people talking about brown people culture. As I like to call it. the village is getting pestered by some hyenas. And then they kind of get rid of the hyenas somehow. Maybe there's a hunter involved, I don't know. And I like to think they throw a great big old party because the song feels really festive to me. And actually, I like to pair that often with this because that is Sutukum, as I learned from my second teacher, but my first teacher taught me a version of the same song that's quite different, and they came from kind of different regions, so not an expert in Kora regionalism, but it does vary, and I have a little exposure to it. And so I really play American Kora, I guess, because the teacher I spent the most time with grew up in Mali, but his dad was from Gambia, so he already had kind of mixed style, though it's more Malayan. And my first teacher was from Casamance, which is the southern region of Senegal. I didn't spend as much time with him, but a fair amount, and so I've gotten kind of a little bit of a variety, but of course I'm not master of anything, so this is also called Sutukum. We like build up a bit, and I'm glad maybe I'll play one more. Yeah. Everyone want that? Yeah. Hopefully, I hope you wouldn't stay just because you felt were worried about offending or something. Hopefully, you're very much enjoying this, and we'll come back and see me again sometime. At the very least, like look up some other Kora players. Part of what I do is I expose people to different music and different culture. It's kind of a funny thing to be doing, and I've just kind of fallen into it, but that's what happens, I guess. Song they learned, and it's one of the first things I learned. but you keep learning your whole life. And especially with music that's got that is heavily improvised, but has all these like other things attached to it, you keep playing the same songs and you get better at them. And you don't play them the same every time. Traditionally men play and women sing, but that's changing. Both because there's a lot of foreign women who want to play, and also because there are starting to be African women who play too. There's a famous choir player named Sonia Jabate, who I think she lives in England at the moment, but she's from the Gambia, and is kind of the first woman in her family to be allowed to play. Yeah, when I played with the Symphony of Chorus, we had two women choir players in that group of 8. One of them's awesome. Her name's Unity. She lives in Hawaii, but neither of them were African. But yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
I don't understand what such math is, but I did go through everyone. I usually listen to